When Herman Melville died in 1891, he was a virtual unknown. His greatest works were out of print, and his name had faded from the literary world. But 30 years later, his widow discovered a pencil-written manuscript in a desk drawer. This was Billy Budd, the final story he ever wrote. The story centers on a 21-year-old sailor. Billy is a foretopman on a merchant ship, known for his bright blue eyes and a personality that earns him the nickname Baby Budd. He is a natural peacemaker, beloved by every man he sails with, but his life is upended by the reality of 18th-century naval warfare. Under the law of impressment, Billy is taken from his merchant ship and forcefully drafted into the British Navy. He is moved from a crew of friends to a 74-gun warship, the HMS Indomitable. His former captain warns the naval officers that they are making a mistake. He explains that before Billy arrived, his deck was a saco de gatos, a bag of fighting cats, but that Billy's mere presence acted like a virtue, quieting the most bitter men. The Indomitable is a place of iron discipline, not virtue. On his first day, Billy watches a young sailor get flogged for a minor clerical error. Seeing the red welts on the boy's back, Billy is paralyzed with fear. He resolves to be a perfect sailor, terrified that he might one day step out of line. Yet Billy has a flaw that no amount of discipline can fix. While he is physically perfect, he suffers from a severe vocal stutter. Whenever he is under intense pressure or emotional strain, his voice fails him completely. He becomes trapped in a convulsive silence. Billy represents a state of total, unblemished innocence. He is a man who cannot recognize evil because he has none in himself, now trapped inside a massive mechanical military system that values only obedience and results. The enforcer of that system is John Claggart, the ship's master-at-arms. Claggart is the head of the ship's police, a man whose job is to maintain order through surveillance and suspicion. Claggart feels an immediate visceral hatred for Billy. It isn't based on anything Billy has done. Rather, Claggart is revolted by Billy's perfection. To a man defined by suspicion and order, Billy's effortless goodness feels like a personal insult. Claggart begins a campaign of subtle sabotage. Billy suddenly finds his hammock gear messed up or his sea bag improperly stowed, minor infractions that result in vague, ominous threats from Claggart's subordinates. Billy is confused, unable to understand why his perfect record is beginning to fray. One night, the trap escalates. A shadowy figure approaches Billy in the darkness of the deck, whispering about a secret mutiny. The man offers Billy 2 glinting coins, a bribe, asking him to join the rebellion. Billy is horrified and disgusted, but his innocence keeps him from reporting it. He simply cannot wrap his mind around the idea that this might be a setup. He stays silent, hoping the strange encounter will simply go away. Claggart uses that silence to close the trap. He goes directly to Captain Veer and formally accuses Billy Budd of being the ringleader of a mutiny plot. It is the one accusation a wartime captain cannot ignore. Claggart has turned a personal grudge into a legal death sentence. He has pitted a man who doesn't understand the concept of a lie against a system where a single accusation is treated as a lethal threat. Captain Veer is skeptical of the charge. He brings both men into his private cabin to confront one another. Standing in the small, quiet room, Claggart looks Billy in the eye and repeats the treasonous lie to his face. Billy is struck by the impossibility of the evil. He tries to speak, to defend himself, but his vocal cords lock. His face contorts in an agonizing effort to find words that will not come, leaving him gasping and silent. Unable to speak and suffocating under the lie, Billy's body reacts for him. Like a spring placed under too much tension, his right arm shoots out in a desperate, involuntary strike. The blow hits Claggart squarely in the forehead. The master-at-arms falls to the floor and dies instantly. By taking away Billy's voice, Claggart's malice finally forced him into a corner. In a world governed by words and laws, the angel of the ship has been transformed into a murderer. Captain Vere knows that Billy is morally innocent, but as a commander in the King's Navy, he also knows the law. Striking a superior officer is a capital offense. Vere convenes a drumhead court-martial. He acts as the sole witness, and while his officers want to show mercy, Vere forces them to set aside their hearts. He tells them that their duty is not to nature or morality, but to the code of the Navy. The machinery of the law moves forward without deviation. At dawn, the crew is assembled to watch as Billy Budd is hanged from the mainmast. The memory of the event haunts Captain Vere for the rest of his life. Years later, as he lies dying from a wound sustained in battle, his final words are not a command or a prayer, but the name Billy Budd, Billy Budd. Melville's final work suggests a grim reality of human civilization. In a world built on rigid codes and mechanical justice, pure innocence cannot survive. It is a thing that must eventually be sacrificed to keep the machine running.